r/AskReddit. What is the most awkward moment to get a boner? When you're the mall Santa. This one right here, officer. Getting an ultrasound of your balls. Here you are, all exposed. Female technician dragging the one thing back and forward through cold lube on your sack for half an hour or so, looking for a lump, in case it was a cancer. It wasn't. Here's you. Trying your hardest to 1. Not look her in the eye. 2. Not get a boner. Yep, this experience really stressed me out. The nurse tech did some multiple sliding towel thing to keep me hidden, but you're still out there to the world. I was really relieved not to get an erection. They did find a tumor, though. Good news, bad news, I guess. During an autopsy. Especially if you're supposed to be the corpse. When 13 years old, being late for school while having morning wood in bed, and your mom is grabbing the sheets yelling up, "You better get good at that 180 flip from back to stomach." TBH, don't hide it. It may be awkward, but you'll learn to not do that again. After she's gotten dressed because you couldn't get it up. I'm sure that this is someone's fetish. Once I fell asleep in party on sofa in the middle of living room. Woke up next morning with 10 people around me, eating breakfast, drinking morning beers, having a good time. As I'm told, I had a full mast pants tent going on for most of morning. I slept on my back, head hanging over edge of sofa in a star shape. Power move. Hope you maintained eye contact upon awakening. I got a boner just before a female colleague asked me to help her move some boxes from one office to another, so I stalled by talking to her about something random and acting as if I had lost my thoughts. But the boner wouldn't go away. I just awkwardly stood up in a way that made it stand to the side, and she saw. She smiled. We moved boxes. I had a vasectomy a few years ago, and had a follow-up appointment on Halloween Day, and as it turned out, many of the employees had decided to wear a costume to work. The nurse who examined me had decided to be as unoriginal as humanly possible, and wear a sexy nurse outfit to work. She looked good in it. If she's actually a nurse, then wouldn't it just be a sexy nurse uniform instead of a costume? During the Pledge of Allegiance in high school, I remember staring at the hot girl's thong sticking out the back of her jeans and the "Please rise for the pledge." Several parts of my body had risen to show respect for my country. When I was a freshman, every time my B-Day second period class ended, this girl would stand up and pull her leggings up, basically giving herself a wedgie. And she has a pretty nice body. We are juniors now and we are decent friends. She is a dance major at my high school, and freshman me loved when that class was over. My husband got a random boner when he was presenting a project to the class in HS. He said it knocked something off the desk and everyone laughed at him. He also said his first erection was in the car with his family and he didn't know what it was, so he started screaming and his parents laughed at him. Second part happened to me. My mom tells the story a lot more than I would like. Hahaha. Was walking past her preschool and my girlfriend sent me a picture. It was nudes. I couldn't hide it. Oof. Uncooperative boners are the worst and most awkward. As you grow older you may notice that your dong isn't always gonna be rock hard 24/7, and you might even start experiencing rare moments when it just doesn't want to rise to the occasion at all. That's fine. It happens. Then when the moment has passed, the old lady has given up and turned in for the night. Guess who just woke up? MHM. So now you gotta do that awkward poke with your elbow while whispering, "Hey, you still awake? You know how I couldn't get it up earlier? Yee." That passed. You still up for it? And God ducking forbid if she goes along with it again and it decides it took too long and dies halfway through. It doesn't happen often, but when it does it's awkward as duck. In court when you are on trial for sex crimes? Nice try, Weinstein. When hugging your sister. As a sister with a brother I regret reading this. In class. It's always in class. In maths too. But damn the curves on that 8. In a room full of girls you don't know and don't want to know. Especially if you're an introvert. Never experienced it, but it must have been bad. Airport security pat down. I work in the security. I pat down people a lot. It's not fun for us either. Then pat less seductively. I had a gym teacher and I'm not lying, but his name was Mr. Hoare. Pronounced horse. I was a decent free throw shooter in school and he had me lined up for the entire class to shoot free throws. Well, there were girls in the class and the boys usually sat behind the girls when we were in lesson mode. But I wasn't sitting behind them. I was standing in front of them. And I was young and they were very attractive. Talking white tennis shoes, short shorts, scrunchies and the hair and all that. I'm not entirely proud of it, but I had a crush on a girl in the class, and seeing her from the front, watching me shoot free throws, I ran out of the gym to the mocking accusatory laughing of my classmates. I don't think I was ever popular again. Oof, sorry. I got really hard while a nurse was shaving my pubes so I could get my vasectomy. My wife was in the room also. So what is death like then? My ex-GF cried because of some of her made up drama. Yada yada yada. And I got a boner. We had sex afterwards. She cried again some time later and, you guessed it, boner plus sex. This occurred so often with the sex as in reward to the boner, that I am now conditioned. So, whenever someone cries, I get a boner. Totally weird and sometimes in very bad situations. Here are some examples. One ex-GF granddad died. 2 co-worker fell and hurt himself badly. He cried. 3 new GF talked about some bad experience with her ex. Edit. My most liked comment is about my weird boner. Nice. At a nudist beach. Good luck trying to hide that. Farter, why you flog the dolphin before you go. Also, sneak off halfway through and do it again in the bathroom. We were on a bus once on a marching band trip, and we stopped for food at a restaurant. When we were boarding, someone fell toward the back and held up the line. I had already taken my seat 3 rows up from the front, and my cousin, F, was supposed to be sitting in the back. One of those the humidity is different and the air pressure is off a bit. Have a hard penis moments happened. She was standing in line waiting to get to her seat, and she decided, I'm just going to sit in a Toma Manova's lap. Nothing was said, no eye contact, no tension, just pure fear as I looked out the window towards my window mate. She never said anything about it and nothing was ever different with us. Your wife has tested positive for coronavirus. Well, this gives new meaning to sharing your cold corona with the boys. I was in high school in the first class of the day. Like most high school students, I stayed up till late the night before and my body did not really wake up until midway through the first class. The classroom was set up weird. Instead of all the desk facing the front, the desk were facing the middle of the room. So half the desk were on one side of the room, half on the other, and there was a gap in the middle where the teacher would normally stand and teach. Now in the middle of class the teacher finished going over something and nothing was really going on at the moment. She then goes to her desk and says, "Rugby 8724, I forgot to pass this back to you, can you come pick it up?" At that moment my morning wood was at 100%. But the worst part is the way it ran down my right pant leg and could not adjust it to make it less obvious. Now remember, no one is currently working on anything at the moment. The teacher just called my name to go get something from her desk, and all the students' desk face the area I will be walking to go to her desk. I sat there for a moment trying to think of any excuse not to get up, but could not come up with anything. While standing up I was hoping there would be some adjusting and it would be less obvious, but I was unsuccessful. The whole time I was walking my morning wood was kinda stuck in an area down my right pant leg and felt like it was trying to rip out of my pants. A girl I kinda had a crush on was looking at me while I was walking up to the desk as well. At that moment I was so embarrassed. I get boners, without fail, every time I get tired. Worst superpower ever. He's horny tired man. As a juror in a rape trial. As the defense attorney in a rape trial. Swim meet. Especially if you swim the backstroke. I was at the doctor, she was female, I was naked with scrub dress thing. I get hard ASF cause I was nervous and she walks in and tells me to lay back. She saw I could never look at her face again. I never went back to that doctor. Was she at least a hot doctor? When the gorgeous nurse practitioner is checking you for hernia and looks up at you and says, "How does that feel?" When you already have one. Boner 2. At a funeral. At your own funeral. When the kinda cute physician assistant was fingering my butthole checking for anything unusual. She seemed understanding though, lol. Can I call you sometime? Accidentally walking in on your mother giving birth to your sibling. Yes, this is a common error for me as well. During a job interview. I had an interview once, as the interviewee, and I noticed that the 20-something girl doing the interview's blouse had popped open in an unfortunate spot and she hadn't noticed, so she carried on. I tried desperately to maintain eye contact and not look. I mean, I couldn't see anything as she was wearing a bra, but it was still uncomfortable. When you're watching your parents undress. Why are you watching your parents undress? Hugging my ex goodbye after breaking up and the cadet is like, this is not a drill. We planned for this. So yes, reporting for booty. No, goddamn it. Not now, Jimmy. A colonoscopy. He said the worst, not the best. When you're pulling your grandma off life support. At the exact moment the bishop slaps you during a Catholic confirmation service. One time when I was in grade 7, I was talking shit with the people sitting next to me when all of a sudden I get a boner. At the very same time the teacher called me over for talking too much. I waddle over, best read and praying that no one is looking at the tent in my pants. Teacher looks at me, looks down at my coke, looks back at me with a disgusted, shocked expression and tells me to go sit back down with no discipline being dished out. Boner saved me. Thanks, boner. Years ago, I was giving blood. It was either the 11th of September or the day after. It wasn't 2001. But it was near enough that the news was still 24 hours about the attacks, whether it was about memorials or about the coverage of the day, etc. So, when I was about to give the blood, on the TV there was footage of a wake, and the dog of the deceased was following the casket and laid down in front of it after it was placed down. It's emotional, and I started to tear up, then thought, shit, they're going to think giving blood is what is making me cry. Then I thought, duck it. Could be worse. At least I don't have an erection. Your kid's parent-teacher conference. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.